Welcome back, guys. This is Let Loose Dog Talk podcast. Uh, we're doing Martin second part from Fuerzas American Bulldog.
How's it going, gentlemen?
Martin, what's up? Welcome back.
Thank you for having me again.
You know what, Martin? It was the first part we did. We got pretty good feedback from different breeders and even the audience that are non-breeders that just watch us. They said, "Hey, that you guys had a good, informative episode with Martin." And I was like, "No, you know what? I felt that it was a good one." And I told them, I was like, "Man, just wait for second part." I was like, "Second part is a little bit more let loose." I was like, "We're gonna talk about the goods and the bads, but you'll hear the part from our side when things go south with customers or even other breeders and stuff." Do you have any experience, Martin, where maybe you had a fallout with a customer where things didn't work out, whether it was with contracts or even with a dog that they expected something from a dog to become and it didn't turn out?
Yeah, so I could talk about maybe three situations over the last, I think about 13 years of selling pups, and each time has been a learning experience. It's like what was missing. A lot of times is setting expectations, and I can use this example. Like if your tire in your car is running low on air, and you expect in the morning you have to add air before you go to work, before you can go get your tire changed.
Correct.
You wake up in the morning and you don't have to add air. You're happy because your expectation was like, hey, I got to do this. I got to pull out my air compressor and the hose. Anyways, after that example, I don't want to say too much about each situation because I mean, some of it is pretty sore still.
Yeah.
So I've tried to do contracts a few times. I did contracts and it really saved me. And a few times I didn't have the contract completed or done at all, and it really hurt me. Um, I would like to talk to the people and get a feel for them. Here's
Okay.
one question you can ask a person. It's like, hey, if this dog got hurt and it was going to cost you $25,000 in vet bills to save this dog, would you do it? There's no right or wrong answer to this.
True that. Yeah.
There's
You know
no
what? If
right. I want to get a feel for the person.
correct, yes.
And there was a situation where there was a dog that needed a lot of medical treatment, uh, two ripped knees, and then like a pinched nerve later on.
Mm,
And it equaled about $17,000 in vet bills. And I wanted this dog back so I could replace it. But this dog was already an adult dog, and everyone in the family loved it. You know, it was a member of the family. So it's like they weren't going to give me the dog. You know, they're like, what are you going to do? Put it down? You're just going to give me another puppy? So,
yeah. So
you
let
know,
me ask you something. So did the injuries happen while he was an adult, or was he a pup when all this happened?
young adult,
Oh,
young adult, you
okay.
know, after between first and second heat with this
Mm,
specific guy.
okay, okay.
Spayed at 12 weeks.
Ooh,
So, I mean, you know, it makes huge changes.
It
yeah,
does. It does. That's
that,
why I recommend to my customers to wait at least till the dog is 2 years old to develop. Kind of fully mature, not completely there. Some customers don't want to wait till the dog is 3 years old, right? But I always say wait until he's at least 2 years old, and then he's matured a little bit more, and after that you could decide whether you want to, whether it's a male, neuter him or spay him if it's a female.
Yeah, I've had contracts. Like I haven't had the same contract. I've been trying to make the best contract work. I've had contracts where it says if you spay or neuter this dog before a certain age, the contract is void.
Mm,
So I've
okay.
I've had that in contracts. I not in all of them. I'm trying to figure it out. Right now I think the contract I'm working with is pretty set. It's short and it covers the important things. And that's what's important to me. Because I mean, I've also had a 4-page long contract where it says everything is, well, a long contract where it's all one sided to help me.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a good thing, but I've done that. And I always want to help my customers. I want them to have something right. But when you go through a bad experience as a seller, the next thing you want to do is protect yourself. And
Correct.
sometimes you don't think about the customer. I always try to be fair, but there's just a lot of nuance to all of this.
That's true. I agree with you. Yeah, like you said, you try to protect yourself, but at the same time, you try to work with the customer. But some of these customers, man, they start off to be your friends, and then suddenly things happen, and they want to become your worst enemy, and kind of bad mouth about you, about you're the worst breeder ever and stuff, and not even give you a shot to be like, hey, let me, things happen. But at the same time, I always say, okay, if I sold you a dog that I knew the lineage where they came from were gonna have these issues, then okay, it falls on me. But if I've been testing and making sure these lines are clear, at the same time, I gotta hold you responsible, because whether depending how you're giving them that life, for the dog to mature and proceed, then I gotta see what you're doing. Because if you're out there, let's say having your dog a month, a 12-week-old pup jumping from the couch or from the bed down, and things happen, hey, that doesn't fall on the breeder. It's your necklace that you didn't take care of that dog the right way.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of things that can really hurt a pup in the long term. Like
Yeah,
if you bring home a 9-week-old puppy and then you put a puppy pen in your kitchen or in your laundry room and it's slippery tile,
yeah,
and you just let the pup live there for like 2 weeks, it's not going to be good. Slippery surfaces are very bad for puppies.
yes, no, definitely. Damn, you got something to add to it? What do you think?
Um, yeah, I think it's tough because a lot of that is environmental, right? So it's hard to say, in those situations, you could give your recommendations. That's why I think it's good if you kind of vet them before. Of course, they're going to tell you what you want to hear if they want to, buy a dog from you, right? I've seen that where people are constantly posting. So I'm like, hey, if you really want a dog from this person, here's where to tell them, what they're into, and they're gonna go for it. And then environmentals are gonna play a big part in that.
Yeah,
But fixing them, at 12 weeks or before a year is, I mean, that's detrimental, I think. And then it's hard to say because then you're like, what if, right? Whose fault is that at the end? Like that's why those contracts are real important. I've done with and without, and I've had both, good and bad. Thank God nothing's been too crazy. Um, but there's always that chance. So it was good to to cover yourself, and then for the dog, you want to make sure that they're good and they're going to get taken care of. But that's a
I, I
rough situation.
I agree. Martin, do you have something in place now in your contract, whether um like you could void whether a refund or even an exchange pup if certain things happen?
That would be a spay or neuter would void
Okay.
obviously mistreatment or anything like that. And anything like that is hard to prove. They pretty much got to post it on social media and you've got to screenshot it. If you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
a 6-month-old pup jumping out of the back of a pickup truck or jumping out of a trampoline, that's like the only way. So you're gonna have to take their word for it, or you can just ask them a bunch of questions, and if they fumble and
Yeah.
answer the question incorrectly, you need to record that. But I mean, we should tell all our clients. Like I speak with my clients a lot. It's very rare that I just do like 1 or 2 phone calls and they get their pup and they're gone. Like usually when I talk to clients, I'm talking to them for a while,
Yeah.
over a time of weeks. I've had clients where I talk to them almost every day for 2 months and then they get their pup. You really have to talk to them and see what kind of vibes you get, because I work in a restaurant, and from the second a customer walks in the door, like it sounds kind of bad, but it's like this person's going to order a big plate or this person's going to order a small plate. It's kind of not judging people, but it's kind of catch a feel for them. Like I see customers walk in and I'm like, that customer wants to sit in a corner alone away from the other customers. Like I can just read. And I've even had times where this customer is going to be a problem. You know, when you get them, hey, how you doing? And they don't even say hi and they just say table for one, you know?
Yeah.
You're like, there's issues before you even get your order in. Like it's you're going for a wild ride. Like I've had those after, 13 years in a restaurant. So it's the same with selling puppies. You got to kind of learn. There's a gentleman who's in the breed, and I think he sold his first litter. He's been an owner for like 5-6 years, and he sold his first litter. And I dealt with the second toughest client I've ever had. This was a repeat client. They were very difficult, and I tried to do everything I could. Didn't work out. Gave them a partial refund, and then they went to another person nearby who I'm talking about, who had their first litter, and took them on a rodeo. Like it was tough. And that person's like, man, I don't want to sell dogs ever again. I promise you, it's not normally like this.
That's the thing, it's kind of good when you do like this, like we talk to, other people, not to badmouth people, but if you're going right, you could message like, hey, what's up? Like I know sometimes I reach out to Dennis, like, hey, what's up? This person's asking about dog. You'd be like, let me see, is it so and so? Oh yeah, the same thing. And then I'll reach out to you or somebody else, and come to find out that person's just kicking tires to like every single American Bulldog breeder with the same kind of stuff. So you kind of like, hey, watch out for that person, or like I'm sure that's like word of mouth, right? Like
I'm cool.
Business on both
cool
ends.
with kicking tires as long as they don't. It's weird when they leave a deposit here, deposit there, deposit there.
Yeah, and then they say, well, Martin's dogs are this, and Dennis said this, and this breeder over here. So I'm like, hey, that's fine. I don't know what to tell you how much they sell their dogs for, what they do with their dogs. But you ask me, so I give you my thing.
My biggest issue is when I can't tell if I'm being fair or lenient or charitable enough to a person. And I'm like, if this person has a problem and they want this and that, and I'm like, gosh, I don't normally do that. Like, am I being okay with this person? And then another person tells me, oh no, they were terrible. They were hard to deal with. Don't even do that. Don't waste your time. I'm like, okay, it's not just me. Cause I'm always trying to be like the best I can. And when in doubt, like I give more grace to the person,
Yeah, but that kind of comes naturally, because I feel like, it's good for people to ask questions, but certain questions, right? Like, how much pup do you do deal? Like, is that the lowest you could go?
Yeah.
Look, man, I'm a professional. I deal with contracts in my personal life, but as soon as anybody says, like, hey, what's the best you could do for me? Ask a car salesman, ask anybody, right? If they go into your restaurant and they're like, hey, I know it says $19.99 for the fajitas, but I mean, there's a restaurant that sells them for $17. Don't you think that's a fair price? Like, come on, right? It's like, hey, man.
Maybe if they buy 1,000 of them.
Yeah, and they're like, actually, I don't even want the full plate. Just give me half of it, and I'll give you, 15, because you're serving.
And you know what, Martin? I have repeat customers, and I've tried. If you're a repeat, I'll knock maybe $500 down or whatever. But I have repeat customers that are like, no, Dennis. He's like, I'm coming back to you because you gave me a great dog, but just the overall business that we did was fair and straight up. And anytime I had any questions or help with anything, you picked up your phone, whether it was a call or a text. He's like, so I'm not getting another dog just so you could give me a discount. They're like, no, I'll pay full price. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, okay. But like Gam said, same thing. I deal with contracts on a daily, in my personal life too, because of our jobs. And like he hit it right on the head of the nail. That we have customers that they try to hustle you on the price and stuff, but you're like, hey, that's a contract. It is what it is. And they might say, hey, well, this other company is getting for cheaper. Then why did you reach out to me first? And then, go with them. Why are you coming back to me if they already gave you a price and you think it's better? Then buy from them.
And chances are they're already with somebody, right? Just like a lot of these people, you get first time buyers, but there is some people like, oh, I got my last 4 dogs from them. Like, well, how come you don't want to go there anymore, right? There's sometimes like a reason, not always negative, right? But you did deal with that stuff. I think that's just part of it.
Yeah. So for this section, I want to say it's like, do your contract, try and make it brief. Think about the main thing of a contract is, what are we going to do when something goes wrong? So
Yeah.
what are the main things that can go wrong? There's you got the health of a pup that's small. You got the health of a dog that's older. What voids your contract, and how do you do it? What's the time frame? So those are the most important things. And then there's deposits and pickup time. So you got time frames, and then what goes wrong. When do you leave your deposit? When do you pick up your deposit? Or I'm sorry, when you pick up your puppy, when is the full price of the pup due and everything? So that's what you want, because you'll get, trust me, you think you got a good contract, and then you got a person that says, oh, I'll pick up the pup at 9 weeks. And they keep telling you, hey, I think it's going to be at 12 weeks. We're going on vacation.
Yeah.
We don't want to take the dog on vacation anymore, so we'll pick it up when we get back. You know, so there's those little things that you're juggling. It's like, how do I charge them? Should I put like a boarding fee in the contract? It's, you get all those type of things.
You know,
Sometimes it's easier to give deposits back. Like I've
yeah.
several deposits back because I don't want to deal with them. I've kept a lot of deposits. My deposits aren't large. It just makes it easier. So that's the main thing of contracts.
No, and it's true. Like usually myself, I usually ask for full payment by 7 weeks, right? So during that 8 weeks, they come pick up their dog or whatever. And if for whatever reason they, like you said, hey, we're gonna go out of town, can I pick it up in 2 weeks? In my contracts, I do have I think I can't remember if it's $25 per day for boarding. So depending how long they're gonna be, and some of them there, and they read it. I was like, make sure you read that contract thoroughly, because there's things there. If you don't pick up your pup, I charge for the day because I still gotta feed it and everything. And some might be like, well, you were feeding it already. I'm like, yeah, but you already paid for the dog. The dog is yours now, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't mind feeding it still because it's my dogs. I produce them, but like you said, sometimes that's why you have these contracts in place, and whether you enforce them or you let them just slide, and sometimes that's where customers take advantage of you.
Yeah, and I'm okay with letting stuff slide until, why am I letting so many things slide? Now
Yeah,
I've got to charge. If it's like 2 days extra, I'm
yeah,
gonna let it slide. And then on the boarding thing, I've done that, and it's like they pick up at 3. Like, are you gonna charge them for 3? It's like, you got to
hmm,
charge per night. Is
yeah,
is what I've done too, because it's just gets interesting. The more you do it, the more you learn. Like there's holes and gaps and stuff, and sometimes the and like what you said about the 7 weeks, you want them paid for in full, because if they don't pick them up, or they say, hey, I'm gonna wait for the next litter, I really want a male instead of a female or whatever. Now you have, from 7 weeks, you got an extra week to try and find that pup another home.
exactly. Yep. Martin, and have you had any cases where, or maybe this case where that person spent like 17 grand on that young adult that had a couple of injuries, that case went on where the customer wanted to sue you, or even just go and on social media and blast you for the horrible breeder you are?
No, I've never had that happen. This person was very professional and
Mm,
understanding. And I mean, in the paperwork, it says I would replace a pup. I
yeah,
would replace a dog. If something like that happened and I said 2 years and it happened at 25 months, I'd probably still do it. I mean, I'm producing dogs and stuff, so it's like, but it's the hard part where they don't want to give the dog back because they
yeah.
love the dog. So I mean, I have had people like leave a bad review and stuff, but
Has it happened only with customers, or has it happened like with other breeders, or?
it hasn't.
Oh, okay.
It hasn't. I mean, I try my best, you know, and I'm always like, I behave like people are watching. I behave like I'm being recorded. I behave like
Yeah.
everyone's gonna screenshot me. So I try to do my best, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I think about it. I'm not hot headed. I'm calm. I've even said, "Hey, let me think about it. I'm not sure. How are we gonna figure this out? I'll get back to you." Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
because it's true. I don't know what to do in some situations, and
You know what?
sometimes it's better to give the money back.
That is true. But see, sometimes this is where I guess I learned the hard way too. And it was with a stud fee. I didn't have a contract in place. You know, they send the deposit. They didn't even pay for the full stud fee. And usually a stud fee you pay it out front, like, oh, here it is, send me semen and stuff. It was a deposit, right? And this lady, cool. I went to the vet, did a semen analysis. I send it to her. I didn't even charge you for that. Cool. Send it to her. They collected the dog. They shipped the semen from there. Cool. I had asked her, have you tested your female? Have you done a progesterone test? She's like, oh, yeah, yeah. I think she said she's like at 6. And I'm like, I was like, you know what? I don't think she's even ready. I think you should wait. She's like, no, no, no. By the time you send the semen, she'll be ready. Okay. Here goes another thing. I didn't have a contract in place. So her female, she inseminates her dog. Boom, everything semen was used. You know, um, the dog didn't take. She comes back talking about, oh, I need my deposit. The dog didn't take. You know what? I would have been cool, send it to her. But the way she came at me, that's when I was like, you know what? No, screw you. I was like, I ain't sending it. I was like, if you would have talked to me straight up and have a normal conversation instead of trying to put me on blast and shit like that, nah. I was like, and then once I wasn't gonna argue with a woman, especially on social media and stuff like that. So I had left a lot of that stuff, not even saying nothing. And she was going in there saying all this stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I got on the phone, tried to talk to her. There was no reasoning with her. So at the end, I was like, screw it. Think what you want. I was like, there's always another, a second part to that story. Some people might reach out, they want to hear it, cool. But I'm not gonna go on social media and try to be, and blast her like, man,
Yeah,
well, what's wrong with you?
absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely not. And I've said this a lot of times, but I like to give this example. A professional like a car salesman or a real estate agent, they don't, they don't complain. They don't air out on social media. They don't talk about like 10 test drives and they didn't buy anything.
Exactly.
I showed them 5 houses in one day and they didn't buy anything. Like none of that. Like
Yep.
we're professionals. Like we don't mess around with that. Like that's an issue in our community. I've had times where they tell me, "Hey, we're coming," and I give all the puppies a bath. I give the mom and dad a bath, and I
Yep.
I have someone like cover for me at work, and they don't even show up.
No, definitely. And you know what's crazy? That all that is
Imagine the
happening,
same thing.
and then you get the breeders that are nosy, right? And they're in there, oh, look what's happening here. And they don't even know the whole story, and they're commenting shit that they don't even know what's going on. Whether it might be good, it might be bad because they don't like you, they don't like the way you breed dogs or whatever it is. And I find it so funny with that because I'm like, dude, I was like, not to say women like gossip, but man, I believe some men just love that, and that's why they just want to be all over it.
Yeah,
Hey,
people
I
get
ain't gonna lie.
excited, excited for the.
I like a good story, man. But it's very hard for me. Like, I hate to ask, so I just hope people tell me. But man, I don't know. It's not good, but it's good to pay attention because people usually behave in a pattern.
That is true. And you know what's crazy
Yeah,
about breeders that I'm telling you like to be nosy? It's crazy because I have breeders coming at me asking me, "Oh, I want to buy a dog from you, let's make a deal and stuff." And I'm thinking I'm cool with this person, I'm like, "Oh, cool, yeah, I talk to him here and there." And I'm thinking, we're kind of social media friends and shit. But at the end it comes back and it's like, "Nah, this guy's talking shit about you, Dennis," I'm like, "What?" I was like, man, I was like, it doesn't bother me because
that's
I really
crazy.
don't care what people think about me. but I just find it hilarious because I'll be like, man, I was like, really? I was like, I thought we were cool. I was like, ah, screw it, it's all good. I was like, I don't need them. Apparently, they needed me because they were coming for me, asking me for dogs. You know, hey, when you gonna have a litter? I want to buy a pup. How much? Can we work a deal? So I find it hilarious. Like, oh, dude, really? I was like, I could put you on blast on social media on that, but I'm not. Because I'm not that type of person. If I got an issue, I'm gonna call you. Or if I catch you at a show or whatever, I'm gonna go up to you and be like, "What's up?"
I don't know, man. I'm just like, my expectations for people are super low.
Yeah.
Like I just assume that's what it is. My expectations are low. And like I said, I pretend everything I say is going to get screenshotted and shown. Like that's how I behave. I'm not saying I have my guard up, but I'm just saying I've learned, I have the reputation of being a loud person. And I'm trying to fix that, with the family and in high school and stuff like that. So I'm like, I need to be a little more mindful, to be a little more pleasant around my friends and stuff. So I try, and I've talked to people on the phone for 2 hours, and then they go tell people like, oh, this Martini does this. He lives in his mom's basement, and I'm like, it's true, whatever.
Yeah. I'm not hiding
I don't
nothing.
care. I'm not embarrassed about anything.
Yeah,
I
like
know
you're not
who I
feeding my
am,
dog, so why do you care? Yeah,
and I work hard, and I take care of my kids and my dogs, and that's what it is. So.
no, that is so true, man. Honestly. So Martin, let me ask you something else. Just since we're letting loose here, have you had any issues on whether, and I'm gonna call it like it is, breeders that they have an issue the way you promote, you advertise, or even the way you take pictures of your dogs? Have you ever had any issues like that? Somebody, going out there and try to, make a whole paragraph about you. Well, they don't say your name. That's one thing. These guys, they just throw subliminals out there, but they don't be the man enough to say the name.
Dennis, I don't know what you're talking about. Everyone likes me.
They might be like, why you have colored dogs, Martin? That's not the standard.
If anyone wants to ask about how I market, and I think I market okay-ish. I'm not the best marketer in the breed.
Yeah.
I know about 2-3 people that I would love to talk to, but they're probably ain't gonna give me their secrets. There's one guy who's super nice who he'll give me pointers, but I don't want to ask these people, some I've never done business with, about their marketing tricks. So I just kind of watch, and I learn, and I look stuff up, and I try to get the best marketing. I will pay for graphic design. I will pay for videography. I won't pay to talk on the screen, though. I won't do
definitely.
that.
You're gonna have to return that check.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, but that's the thing. Like you said, marketing. That's what it is. And you run a business, or you want these, animals, pets to go to a good home, right? And you want to meet good people and do good business, so you do your market, right? It's not. And I think some people have a problem with that, like you taking a good picture, or me paying a third party for a guy that has a crazy gimbal to not shake a video, right? But it's just good marketing. It's not fake. It's not AI. It's not editing. But some people see that as like, oh, you're just doing tricks. I'm like, nobody wants to see your dirty bathroom, and your puppy's full of poop, right? That's not good marketing. Like McDonald's is McDonald's, right? But if they put a commercial and it was like not in the kitchen, they're advertising burgers in a bathroom or in the backyard, you'll probably be like, that doesn't look too appetizing, right? But you know what it is. Like, it's not fake. It's like, hey, that's what it is, right? It's good advertising.
From the car world, I've learned a lot of tricks for videography, photography, marketing. TikToks, Reels. Those are the things. I'd pay for someone to help me. I'd pay for the work. That's not a big deal, and then I'll take that and put it up. I've actually never paid for a videographer. I paid for someone to help me edit my stuff, like my videos, and pile stuff together. I've had people give me advice and then sell me lenses for my camera, you know. And that's like, it's not something they pushed on me. I'm like, hey, yo, what's a better lens, this or that? And you know, they sold me their 50 for the camera. So there's stuff like you have to invest. Like we're investing in stuff. We invest in training, we invest in kennels, we invest in education. That is another thing. We should be investing in education. The hard thing is
Yes.
to know who to listen to, but breeders master classes, like there's stuff we need to invest in, and then there's stuff that I don't think is important to invest in.
Yep. No, I agree. Yeah. Same here. I don't pay to be on the camera and talk, you know. Any podcasts I've done or interviews, they've reached out to me and asked if you know, Dennis, what do you think? I'm like, hell yeah. I was like, it's it's marketing for me, advertisement for me, that you know, exposure. And I'm not gonna say no. I don't know if you follow this guy. It's called Double Muscline,
Yeah,
Marty.
his name is Angel, I think.
Yes. Well, same thing. His photographer, videographer, he flies them out here from Cali to go to New York, where he's from. And the crazy part is that he lives only 20 minutes from me, and that's how he reached out. And he runs that Eterna. Um, I think it's
Yeah,
just it's informative stuff of all breeds. He runs it, you know, the social media and everything. And he reached out and you know, he's like, Dennis, I kind of want to interview, you know. And I think Martin, you commented like, man, that's pretty nice gadgets out there you have. And that was his stuff. He set it up in my backyard. You know, we did a couple of shots here and there. And like I said, I don't pay for none of that. And some people get mad, you know, they go out and do these lives, you know, talking about, you know, all these breeders out there paying for this. But if I was, so what? It's not coming out of your pocket.
Yeah, like check this out. I paid for this backdrop right here.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a shower curtain. I borrowed this plant from somebody. This blue light right here is a $2 bulb,
Martin, and then you're getting sponsored by Lowrider.
and I'm sponsored. I wish, man. I wish.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
No, but that's what it's about. You know, I think there's probably is some people that use stuff, you know, and they just pump stuff up like that. And maybe there's some people that, yeah, of course, like anything else, right? But I think it's good, like to invest in, you know, your business and your marketing and, you know, like knowledge. And, you know, I'm sure we've all learned something in the last, you know, even 6 months, right? That we didn't know. And sometimes like that from, you know, Martin said this, let me ask him. And hey, I looked this up and he was right. Right. But I wouldn't have known until you told me, you know, in the conversation we had, or Dennis or something like that. I think it's important. But some
And
people
you know
have me
what?
blocked and I've never met them.
Exactly. And that's another thing. Yeah, these guys, they block you and they're talking about you. And it's like, well, why did you block me? You know, let me see what you're saying, you know?
I've
But
never been blocked. I don't know, man.
yeah,
I'll
it's
send
funny.
you some. I'll send you some stories.
Yeah. So another thing about this too is learning how to sell, learning how to deal with customers. There's a difference between like first time puppy buying family and a seasoned breeder. Like if I'm gonna buy from you guys are gonna buy from me. It's gonna be different than if we're selling to a family that's getting their first dog. Maybe the family has young kids. How are we going to talk to them about their kids? All right, their youngest kid is 7. That's good. You know, this is what I recommend. I tell them how to have their dog with their children.
True.
And, you know, I'm going to give them more information. I'm going to tell them about, like, hey, these dogs will eat and swallow rags, toys, just like you child proof your home when you have a new baby. You got to child proof or dog proof your home for this dog. Give them pointers on how to keep them easily, because I mean, if the dog is a lot of work, it's going to be tougher for the family. And then there's people who have been looking into the breed for a long time and they're super excited and they like your dogs. And here's a tip for someone. You got a 6-week-old pup. They picked out the puppy earlier. Maybe it was the only female or the only male in a certain color, so that's the one they were set on. So, okay, you can have that one. We'll reserve it for you early on. And now they want pictures like every other day. and then you send them a picture and they call you, hey man, I don't know about that dog. It doesn't look as good as it did before. What's going on? Is its nose too long? Is it too skinny? Is it sick? Oh no, hold on. I think it was a bad picture. You drop everything and you go out and you spend 3 hours to try to get that right picture.
Yeah.
And you send it to them and oh man, that looks great. I was wrong. Thank you. You're right. It was just a bad picture. And
Yeah.
then 2 days later, they ask for another picture. And now you're like, so there's like certain things that you learn with experience on how to
True.
navigate. Don't like, maybe we're just going to send videos now. Maybe we're going to take the puppies out of this area and put them in this containment and take a quick video and do certain things. Because once you have your customer and they've picked out their pup, or maybe they haven't picked out their pup, you have to know when someone leaves a deposit, the correct way to help them throughout the whole journey before they take their pup home. Because you can make stuff harder for yourself and you can make stuff harder for the dog.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then another thing is transportation.
Yeah.
Are we going to use a ground shipper? Are we going to use a flight nanny? And then I have experience with both. So if you use a ground shipper and we're going halfway across the country and they're like, hey, when am I getting my dog? Oh, your dog should be there in about 2 days. And then it takes 3.5 days. Because, I mean, if the ground shipper's picking up and dropping off more dogs or picking up new contracts,
Yeah.
that's the nature of the game. They have to make their money too, especially if they're only charging you like $500,
True.
So, and then there's also flight nannies. Now with flight nannies, a lot of these nannies are standby nannies. They're on standby. They look at the flights. All right, we're getting on this flight. But if something happens, there was bad weather in this state, so everyone's flying here now. The flights are full and she's not getting on because the flight nanny, is not booking a ticket like you and me would book a ticket.
Yeah.
They're kind of waiting. I think this is how it works. They're kind of waiting until kind of the last moment to book the flight so they can pay less.
Yeah.
And they
More
can
money for them. Yeah.
pass the savings on. So I don't fly a lot, but I've dealt with flight nannies, so I've kind of learned that. And then most flight nannies, when they board the flight, they say that dog is theirs.
True.
And then flight nannies have their own contracts with puppies. What happens if a puppy's sick on the flight, or what they've called acts. I can't remember, acts of God, like stuff that they can't expect, like the puppy suddenly dies or something on the flight. So there's a whole nother thing to that. And if you have a good flight nanny, they'll help you. And those groups where you find flight nannies and ground transports, they're full of scams.
Yes. Yep.
It's like buying a puppy off Craigslist. Half of them are scammers from the other parts of the world.
That is true. I know that I usually offer same thing. I've dealt with flight nannies and ground transportation, but now I usually tell the customer, like, just look for a round trip flight. I'm like, you can come pick up your dog yourself. She's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah. I was like, same day. I was like, let's say get a flight if you're coming, let's say from Washington D.C. Look into it. Um, get the earliest flight. You'll be back home maybe that same night. Really, and I was like, in the same day. Usually, it runs around 250 or so. Sometimes $300. But I'm like, you're saving on the flight nanny. That might be $700 or so, and even on ground transportation. If you're going from West Coast to East Coast,
1,300.
exactly, yeah. And I was like, and you'll have your dog with you in the plane, so you're gonna be able to bond with it, or do whatever, be comfortable with it. But at the same time, I even offer myself as a flight nanny. I usually tell them, hey, I could take your dog, pay for my flight, and just for any expenses I have to do, cover them, and you'll have your dog. And I have buyers that usually do that. They'll pay me. I work with GAM, same thing. We found a guy in Puerto Rico, and GAM sold them the dog, and I told GAM, hey, I'm heading that way. I'll take the dog. And they're from California to Puerto Rico. There's not a straight flight over there, so I had to fly into Miami, catch another plane there, and then fly to Puerto Rico, and we dropped that dog off there. And then the buyer met me at the airport. You know, that's one thing. Uh, our communication was always there. So when I landed, he was already at the airport. You know, we talked. Um, we had plans of visiting his ranch, but it wasn't gonna work out for us because I guess the part of the island where he lived, it was like a 4 hour drive from
Oh,
where I was staying. So I was like, no, I can't, man. I was like, I'm only here for 2 days and then I'm heading back. So he's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, but that worked out. And then I've
Yeah.
had people too where they fly in, right? They flew in from Oregon and then they rented a car and then I met them there, like close by the airport, and then they drove back. It was a long trip for them, but they did it in the same, probably like what, 24 hours. Got on a flight, got a rental, then drove it back home. We met like at Petco by the or PetSmart, like by LAX. It's like 5 minutes from there.
and usually for the people who don't know, usually when you fly with a puppy, it's under 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And then you get the special carriers that
Yeah.
are like a duffel bag shaped. They have mesh. They have a zipper on top. The whole top opens. You put your puppy in and out.
Yes.
The puppy has to fit reasonably, and then you pay for the puppy like you would pay for extra carry-on luggage, which I don't know what is it now these days, 140, 150 bucks for the puppy as an extra carry-on.
Yeah, it depends on the airline.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Depends on the airline. Some airlines don't charge you, some do. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's part of like the same if you had your carry on like a backpack. So because it sits on your lap or under your seat, it's free.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why I always tell the customer too. Yeah, just for that same reason, I'm like, do not bring a carry on, do not bring a backpack, because I'm gonna give you a carry on and that will go in. Because if you have a backpack, whether you're gonna pay for the backpack or the carry on, so they're like, oh, okay. So
Yeah, they won't be able to take both. They'll have to check one.
Okay. I don't fly a lot, so I don't really do airports. The last time I was flying, we were still using tickets. I mean, these last times my dad's gone to Mexico, he's like, get my boarding pass on my wallet on my phone. I'm like, all right. It's been a good while since with all these dogs, I don't like to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of rough. Where's the nearest airport to where you're at?
The airport we've used the most is Portland. It's 4 hours one way. Everyone wants to fly into there because it's cheaper. Everyone wants me there at 5 a.m, of course, because it's cheaper. So I'm leaving at, midnight because it's cheaper for them. They're saving 75 bucks. So here I am in the middle of the night driving, but it's all for the love of the game. And then we have a regional airport 2 hours away. It's medium size, and it goes to a lot of other major airports, Denver, Texas, LA, Seattle, Portland, Salt Lake City for that regional airport. And then I have an airport like 5 minutes from my house. It's a super small one, and I think it only flies to 3 places. And it's like 10 times expensive. Our property taxes help fund that airport because it's not very big. We have a big resort here, a big 5-star resort, and a lot of people fly in and use that airport.
So like for private jets and stuff like that.
Smaller stuff. There's only like one airline that flies. So
Volaris.
Oh no, man! You ever flew Volaris, man? Last time I flew Volaris, I'm like, yo, these pilots are like 19 years old.
Yeah, it was one time, but it was like on a layover or something.
Oh, and then I'm 6'4", so I don't fit in those seats.
So you just all.
Yeah, I'm
You
like,
gotta go. You gotta fly first class or business all the time. Yeah.
Man. On the wing, usually the emergency exit is fine.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Not in between two people.
No.
Martin, I do have some questions, and I know I think you're the right person to ask, just because we're both in that breeders academy, so we understand things, or we see things a little bit different than than some of the people. Um, since you have color, and and this is no secret, um, that they had infused Greyhound in the American Bulldog for whatever reason. Not I don't really care what it was for. But do you believe when, let's say, you kind of heavily line breed in there, do you feel that you will get some of those characteristics on these dogs? Because
Okay.
see, the Greyhound is it's an athlete dog, right? Thin, long muscle. Bulldogs, like especially the Bully Classic, they're more, the snout pushed in a little bit more bullier and stuff. What do you think?
Okay, so with the infusions of other breeds into the American Bulldog, the Greyhound thing is something small. There was the infusion of which was the dog? The champagne. Oh
Yeah.
man, I have to find the. We need to go back and put the name in here
Okay.
because it was. Let me see. Whatever blood that Doug Kennedy started to work with, where he got his color from, that was
Hmm.
one infusion, and they said it was like a neo pit mix, and
Like that seal color type.
it was a seal color like a black,
Yeah.
and that person called Johnson and said, "Hey Johnson, how do I make a black American Bulldog?" It's like, well, you got to get a black Bulldog, and the person got that cross and called Johnson, and then Johnson called whatever registry and said, "Hey, register his dogs for him." And then that was one way they put color in. Another way, I think there was, you know, there's a certain breeder who's been breeding as long as I've been alive, who knows like every single situation.
Yeah.
You have the Don Matthews put that Staffy in that very famous YouTube documentary
Yeah. I seen it.
about. There's a lot, and yes, I have seen DNA tests where it says Greyhound. Okay. Who put the Greyhound in there? There's accusations. I don't know. I really
Yeah.
don't care.
And we're not here to
Yeah.
point people out. No, that's not what we're here for.
I've
Yeah.
seen a DNA test that said like 6% or 3%, something, whatever. So I breed the dog that's in front of me and I breed the pedigree. And the dog has to match its pedigree. And the first three lines have to make sense to me. Like, okay, why did they breed this dog that's this style to another dog this style, and then breed it to another dog that its parents were this style? Like, the pedigree has to rhyme. All right, it has to have a reason. It's all got to look the same. And then I have to believe the pedigree is true. Also, these days it's a little easier because of social media. You see, okay, this guy over here has this dog, and then he breeds it with his other dog, and then the result goes to this guy, and this guy is like documenting everything.
Yeah.
And now we have Embark where we DNA test. So if I think something isn't pure American Bulldog, I won't mess with it. So, and even with that, you could have straight lineage from Johnson's yard, and you could still get some traits that you don't like.
True that. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen there's a gentleman that has 100% Johnson dogs that are pretty nice. They're impressive. Uh, two different kennels I can think of. And I don't really pay attention to that style of dog, but I've seen two that are two different kennels that have caught my eye. And then I've seen two kennels that,
Yeah.
man, why are those ears so long? You could take those ears and just go all the way under and they'll touch.
Yeah.
And then jowls almost as long as those ears. Like, they're just they bred on certain traits, and they now they have a look that is not my style.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So
You know what? I asked because this dog, Wrecking Bull, right?
yeah.
And I'm not gonna mention the breeder that brought it out. I guess on the Embark, and he had a percentage of Greyhound in there. But what I know is that there was semen sent to Europe to a standard breeder out there. It got bred to Wrecking Bull, and some of those offsprings do resemble the Greyhound. That's why I ask. You think some of that, and And you know what's crazy? Because I do have a picture. I could put it up here so you guys could see it. Um, and I'm not putting names of who the breeders are, in Europe. I just know that that semen got sent over there, and it was a standard breeder, and it produced, you know, greyhound looking dogs, and they're straight sire from Wrecking Bull. And here, let me see where do I have it.
I'm on the cell phone again. I won't be able to see him.
Oh,
But
you won't be able to.
what I can tell you is I've seen a lot of stuff come out from bully pedigrees, from
Yeah,
bully dogs, like with recorded lineage, like that's bully bred to bully bred to bully, and sometimes it don't come out bully.
true.
Like I've had dogs, I'm probably at a 1 out of 8. We're like, hey yo, what is that? Like it's like it doesn't look like the parents, it doesn't look like the grandparents. It's something weird.
Yeah,
It's like it's like every other litter I get one dog that just doesn't have breed type. Some of them will look like a weird boxer, some of them will look like a nice standard dog, some of them will look like a pit bull kind of thing, and it's just
yeah.
maybe for other people they're like, yeah, it looks like the breed, yeah, it looks like the breed, but it doesn't look like my dogs.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it
And
happens. It doesn't matter if there's a percentage of another breed. It can happen, and then
it could pull
yeah,
from
it
it.
can
Yeah.
pull, and then
Yeah,
Mother Nature wants to bring these dogs back to normal. Some of
yeah,
these dogs, when you start breeding extreme, it's like, hey, you're pushing this snowball up a hill, and
yeah,
you're trying to get these traits. But the second you let go, it's going back down. Like
yeah.
if you don't breed for it, you lose it. So
And this picture that I'm gonna pull up, like I said, it's not throwing shade at nobody. It's informative. And if I'm wrong on whether Wrecking Bull was the sire to this, on this podcast, whoever knows, please, say, hey, Dennis, no, that wasn't the sire to it. But I did my homework before, and I don't like to put no stuff that is not true. I know, Martin, you say you can't see it, but you're gonna tell me that doesn't look like a greyhound, okay? Since you could see
Yeah.
it.
No, you could definitely see like in the muzzle and the length, the chest. I mean, it looks fast. It looks like it's going fast right there in the picture. But yeah, and I think that goes to like what Martin was saying, like, hey, this will come out or this. So this is, definitely does show that like, hey, it's gonna come out. So if it's 6% is there, you breed it enough time to the right dog, it's gonna come out, right? And that's sometimes we're just like some even in people, right? Your parents don't have blue eyes, your grandma doesn't have blue eyes, and then everybody's like, hey, your Theo so and so had, blue eyes, and you're like, oh, I never seen him, and you show him a picture, you're like, oh, that looks just like you. That guy's, 4 generations down on your mom's side, and you look just like him. So it does happen. And like you
Yeah.
said, Mother Nature, it's gonna happen. That's why we look alike, that's why races of people look alike, right? Same with dogs, that's why they look alike. It's just, and if it's in there, it's bound to come out.
So, Martin, you think, like I said, that dog, Wrecking Bull semen, got shipped out to Europe. They used it on a standard dog, and they produced that dog. It
I
looks
mean,
like
they're breeding it to a standard dog. I mean, what? I mean,
but
you're using standard blood. I don't know. It's a tough call for me. Like I'm weird because if they ask me, hey, is this a hybrid dog? Is this a bully dog? I'm like, I'm gonna have to compare them to what I like and what's on my yard. Like,
yeah,
where do we draw the line between a bully dog and a hybrid dog? That line for me is going to be different than someone like uh, I know another good breeder, Justin from Center Bulls. He has some nice dogs, and what he considers hybrid or bully is going to be different than what I consider hybrid or bully. It's just like in relativity to what I like and what I have.
yeah.
So for me, I wouldn't breed to like a hybrid dog unless, I mean, it's got to be pretty bad in my yard if I'm breeding to a hybrid dog. I'm trying to fix a lot of
That,
stuff.
that's
It's
what I
got to
was
be
gonna
pretty
say. It has
bad.
to be pretty bad. Yeah,
I mean, if you have, it's tough because if you have a standard dog and you want to make them hybrid, and you go to a bully dog, you're not just gonna get in the middle. You're not gonna get right in the middle of the parents. You're gonna get some that look like the mom, some that look like the dad, some that look in the middle, and then the standard breeder in Europe. What do they get? What kind of variation do they produce?
True. No, see, so my question to that was, do you think by line breeding or even inbreeding, are you prone to produce that, like get that percentage in there, or is one of those flukes that you did a totally outcross and you got this dog, you know?
I think I think it's a fluke.
Okay.
I think if that dog shows some traits that are much more standard, and I can't see the picture, man. Maybe the picture is the picture on the breed standard of a greyhound, and
True
but
that. Yeah.
I'm leaning more towards like, nah. It's just these lines for the American Bulldog. We have to work them. We have to tighten them up. We have to do something about this because I don't know. Are there consistent lines out there for bully American Bulldogs? Maybe. But there are some nice bully dogs, and their pedigree is completely hybrid.
Yeah. True.
They have a
Yeah.
hybrid pedigree, and this dog is a bully champion.
And then
You know
it
what?
depends who you, because I've seen it like in the show, right? You can see
There you
like, oh,
go.
this is bully, and then this is standard. But if you really look at the dogs, right, you're gonna be like, oh, well, that's kind of hybrid, right? Depending who you ask, it's not like
Yeah.
extreme. But then the other one is like, oh, it's bully type, but then it's like extreme bully type. And then again, if you're gonna ask like a bully extreme type, he's gonna look at a dog and be like, oh, that's hybrid to me, right? And then you look at like a super standard guy, and anything that's not standard is like, oh yeah, that's a bully, right?
Yeah.
That's bully type. So I think like Martin said, is kind of, I think depending who you ask.
Yeah. And then another thing for me is like looking at these other dogs is tough for me because I'm so focused on my yard trying to fix everything that's wrong, and it's almost like looking at these other dogs. Should we be two breeds? Should the bully and the standard split?
You know what? I think so. Honestly, in my honest opinion, I think so. Because like you said, it's two different type of dogs.
I'm not sure if we're ready to split. I don't know if we'll be ready to split in my lifetime, but I think they should be split. Now, I will say I think the standard working dog is more of the original, of course, but I don't know. I'm also, I could be wrong. I think the bully part of the breed is a little more is more popular. There's more registered bully American Bulldogs. So I mean, look at the American Bully. They have different classes.
Yeah.
And we have two classes. We have two standards. They get judged in two different rings and stuff like that. So
And
Yeah,
you know what? You did bring up something. You said that the bully is more popular, I guess. And with the standard too is it's not that it's not popular, but I think the purpose of the dog, of working dog, you know, people now don't have farms and stuff that they need them for that. So that's why they go more to, to the bully side, I guess. And they want more of a, like a chill dog, have that on and off switch, but you want a companion kind of, and I think, that's why I kind of agree with you that yeah, the bully might be a little bit
and then
more
you
out
got
there.
you got the Dogo Argentina is doing the job
Yeah.
that the American Bulldog would do, and the Dogo is just they look good. They're also an excellent breed, and they're doing the same job that the American Bulldogs uh, used to do. But I think the Dogo, the person who created it, was very hands on, and the family is still very hands on, and people know that when they go to that family or that lineage, they're going to work.
Yeah.
And there are working American Bulldog people, but I don't know the popularity of the South American dog.
Yeah.
yeah. It like, I think it's just out of like necessity, right? Before you would get a dog and your money went to that, so it had to be a part of, your lifestyle and make you money. Now we have dogs as like pets, right? So we don't need to like for it to do any kind of work. And like I mean, where I live, there's no work for my dog to do, right? I mean, we have coyotes and maybe some possums and stuff and neighborhood cats, but there's no like job, right? Any jobs that I give them are going to be like exercise that we create, like the treadmill, like the spring pole, things like that. And that's not even really work. It's fun for them. I think it comes down to probably just everybody, into breeding, and the standard dogs are nice, but to the to the people that are outside of the dog world and they're just into having a pet, right? Like a car, like that you want it for something, it looks cool, right? I think that they're some people probably gonna get upset, but like they just don't look as impressive, right? Now, if you're a performance guy and you see the dog, and you're like, oh yeah, that dog looked like it could really catch a hog or something. Well, I don't really know anybody within the 20-mile radius that's gonna need hogs on their
Yeah.
yard, right? But so them walking that dog isn't gonna be impressive, but now they walk like a bully type breed, right? Something like 100 and 10, 15 pounds with a big head and some mass, that's probably more impressive, right? It's going to cost the same amount to feed them. I think that's kind of what people, are looking for. That again, like the wow factor.
Yeah.
I think that's why people go to the color, right? Because it's a cool paint job. So like, look at this dog looks crazy, but also that he's blue or he's black or it's chocolate. Wow,
Yeah.
right? Like a car with the paint job. It's like, oh, that car is cool, but I don't really like it in white. Imagine if it was, you know, green or
And
red.
chocolate or yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. People like they walk into a car. Oh yeah, you have this in red. Oh no, we only have. Wow, never mind. I want a red Ferrari. No one's getting a white one. That's not really. It's the color is
Yeah.
what. Come on, that's why they're green. That's why they're blue because it's for that reason. They don't have brown. You know.
I had a litter of almost all brindle dogs and one full white dog, and everyone wanted the white dog. And then I had a litter of all white dogs with one heavy brindle dog, and everyone wanted the brindle dog.
That's
All the
crazy.
families that came,
Yeah.
That's how it goes. But I think it's because in those instances, then it does stand out, right? Like then I say, oh, like Brindle, that's cool. How come you only have one? They want that, like the rarity. I think like in people, like anything else, it's like a mental thing. So vice versa. Only one white one, that's the one I want. Only one whatever, that's the one I want because it's like more exclusive.
So Martin, since you're a colored dog breeder, um, do your customers look for you like more for like the solid colors, or do they tell you, hey, if you have a white and blue patch dog, reserve it, or do they ask more for the full color suited dog?
So there are like two people in all my life who want a standard color dog, who've wanted a standard color dog because they like the way my dogs look, but they prefer standard color dogs.
Hmm.
But most of the people come to me with very, very specific things they want. They say they want a female, has to be this color, or they don't want anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so like if it has spots, they're like, hey, no, it has to be like a full suit.
yeah, they'll tell me, hey, I want a full bodysuit blue. Or they'll say, hey, I want a all chocolate boy, or I want a black male. That's all they want, or they don't want anything. And I've had to tell people like, okay, but what if I don't get it? And they're like, then I don't want nothing. I'm like, okay,
wow.
here's what we'll do. If there is no available dog that you want, I will return you your money. Because that's the way that's what they want. And I'm like, all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
if that dog is not born, then I will return you your money.
That's true, because I've gotten, I guess, customers that had asked me like, "Hey, I want a blue dog. I love your type of look on your dogs, but if you have color," and I'll be like, "You know what? Reached out to this guy named Fuerzas American Bulldogs. He might be able to help you." I was like, "Cause I don't breed for color," and usually that's same thing with Gam. He might not have, I might not have pups, but he has a litter in the ground. I'll send them over like, "Hey, go with him. He has puppies." He's like, "Oh, but I like your look." And I was like, he works the same lines I do, so they're similar. You'll be able to, find something in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same here. I try to send them to, they ask like, hey, specifics. I'm like, hey, I'm either if I don't know them or hey, this is what they have, or like that, like, hey, go to this person, go to that person.
Yeah.
They have this or that. I seen somebody recently. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but they posted some fluffy American Bulldogs,
No, I
and
haven't
I,
seen
I
it.
think they actually have American Bulldogs.
Was that on
But I
purpose
see
or
them
an accident?
I think it's on purpose. It looked like they had a pair.
Ah, that's. I've seen some people that like they'll have a litter and then all of a sudden they'll have like 3/4 of an inch hairs by like the ears,
Yeah,
and then on the back the coat would be wavy.
yeah.
So I've seen that happen, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, it was like two of them. They actually have American Bulldogs, and I seen them like American Bulldogs, and then all of a sudden they popped up with two like long hair.
Are they the Mammoth Bulldogs?
No, it's not even them. It's actually American Bulldog. I don't know if they're a breeder, but I know they had a litter or two,
Mm.
and I saw it and I couldn't find it again. But they did, and they even asked like, "Oh, American Bulldog, long hair American Bulldog or fluffy?" But I did see that those mammoth dogs or something.
Yeah.
But are those like
Yeah.
oldies?
It's like the
Last of the
labradoodle of
Apso
the dog world.
Yeah.
type.
Yeah.
You know what? With everything that's going on now, I don't even think anybody could say anything anymore. I've been seeing even like real dog men putting these crazy dogs. I'm like, oh, it's this. I'm like, I don't
But
know.
but you know you're right, Gam. But it only certain people could do it because if let's say I don't know Martin or you or myself would do it, maybe you know they will fucking talk so much crap about us, like well, what the heck you guys doing and stuff. But somebody else does it and they give them their praise, like oh no, yeah, that's great, that's a bulldog or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, that's all bulldog. And you know,
Yeah,
then they other people get crucified, right? Like
yeah.
I know I've seen some people they did well, then you know that back then that they were saying there was Rottweiler in somebody's line,
Oh yes,
and
yes,
they
yeah.
crucified that guy, but then it's like the Greyhound was okay, or some people crucify that, and then they're like, oh well, there's something else in this line. I think it just depends who and when they do it.
We got tri American bulldogs too now.
I saw that too. So I think it's kind of
I really want to see like DNA tests on some of these dogs. Not to discount them or anything. I want to see it. Like I'm curious.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I think
like,
that's healthy.
I just want to see like where these genetics came from.
yeah,
I mean, like there are some out of standard, like way out of standard stuff, and it looks good, but it's like the world's not ready for it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. But you know what? If you want to do a cross of different breeds and stuff, that's cool. Go for it. Just you know kind of be honest and you know and be like hey I'm doing this. Some people might like it, some people might be like oh shit all right well let's see the end product, maybe it'll be a nice fucking dog.
Look at the Brazilian bulls, those
There you go, yeah,
Brazilian pit monsters. Like, you know, it's like the winners write history, and like the winners, you know, they injected the right American bulldog into
yeah,
those cells and worked the lines correctly, and they have an awesome product. And I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
for themselves, and they've brought back the X cells, and I mean, when
yeah,
it
and
works, it works. You know,
that
like
is true,
imagine
and
if they didn't look good, then no one
yeah,
would.
Yeah. Well, and that's how we have most of the breeds we have, right? But like now they're established. I've been maybe because I'm more into it now, but there is a lot of breeds out there I see people are like starting
There
or
is, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and
mixing.
say this on record. There is one reason I would ever put Greyhound into American Bulldog. You ever seen that genetic mutation that makes the Greyhounds like super buff, look like those steroided out cows?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe I would try to isolate that and breed on that and bring it over and just.
That double muscle gene in there.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just kidding. That's crazy. That's some crazy mad scientist stuff. But
Yeah. No, but you know what? On that, like this guy, I know Gam, you know who I'm gonna talk about. It's Chad Mayo. He's creating his own breed, but he's been putting it out there step by step, and he doesn't hide anything. You know, he says, I'm adding Bull Terrier, uh, French Mastiff, whatever it is, whatever breed he's using, he says it on record, like, hey, this is what it is. This is the F1 to F2 or whatever it is. And he's creating his breed and I give him his props, man, because he's doing a great job with that. And like I said, if you're gonna infuse any breed with another breed, just be honest. You don't need to hide on it. I think we're in the 20th century where we seen weird shit out there.
Yeah, and that's I think that's like is cool that he's been doing that program. And I remember I was hearing about that like way before, and like I think it's just transparency. I think for like other people's, and then if we're gonna be honest of why dogs look a certain way, that's cool too, right? It's good for the breed, I think, for us to be able to do that. And maybe who knows, maybe people could use that other stuff. Like, hey, that's cool. I didn't know. Maybe I'll put that in my breed.
I also have to talk about this secret weapon I have in my Bulldog breeding program. If you can allow me to bring someone up here
Definitely.
who is very, they have a lot to do with my success.
Yes, I agree with you.
Okay, this right here is my daughter. Her name is ¿Cuántos años tienes?
7.
Layla is 11 years old. Okay, I've had the American Bulldog since before she was born, and she's grown up with them. She's seen dogs come and go, puppies come and go. She's helped me in the whelping box. She knows more than the average person on Facebook about dogs. And she can look at dogs, talk about breed type, enseñarles el dibujo. She just drew this while we were on here.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean,
looks like Lucas.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Like you have to know dogs to be able to draw something like that, So
yeah, that's a reference.
Yeah, that's a big plus, Martin. You got a great helper there, man. Honestly,
I do.
And you said she's your photographer because I seen her taking pictures and stuff. You've been on the floor with pups, and she's there taking pictures. That's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations.
Layla, you want to talk about photography a little bit?
Sure.
So Layla,
just talk about
give us
typically what we do for pictures
As in like
in English.
So how do you guys start off? Like your dad tells you, Layla, I want to take pictures of these dogs. What's the process? Like how do you guys start?
Usually we just
we do mostly on leash, leash pictures.
And then like over time we kind of like either like we usually take them off the leash for some photos, but most of the time.
How many pictures do we take per dog?
Like 100.
Yeah.
Can you tell the audience that is not easy taking pictures of pups?
Yeah. You have to take a bunch and then pick the ones that you like, and then there's like only like 55 left.
Have you ever cried?
Probably, yeah.
Like
has your dad ever gotten?
Yeah.
Has your dad ever gotten not upset at you, but frustrated because the picture's not coming out right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's your
There's
fault.
a lot of yelling involved.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's my question.
Look.
What is your dad doing while you're holding the dog? When he's holding the camera?
When I'm holding the dog, usually he's taking the pictures and
Throwing grass in the air?
yeah, he'll probably like throw like his phone, keys, anything.
My wallet, anything.
Yeah.
Anything. I'll empty out my pockets.
He'll turn like sound effects on his phone. Sometimes that won't work, which is sort of surprising.
Yeah. And each dog is different to take pictures of. We have some dogs that'll hold still really good without a leash.
Or anything. And then there's some dogs that will just, they have to have something like sound effects or
a ball,
a
spring pull. I take the spring pull and like lift it. So so sometimes she's on the camera, she's good at taking pictures. Sometimes she holds the dogs.
I'm better at taking pictures than holding the dogs.
Yeah, some of those dogs are just jumping and pulling on the leash, and they're pretty strong. So
yeah.
No, but Layla, you've done a great job because we've seen those pictures your dad been putting out there, and they're amazing.
Thank you.
And then there's the whelping room. She's in the whelping room a lot too, helping me. Sometimes we let the mom out. We change the bedding on the dogs, clean up the whelping box, mop the floor in the whelping room. Change out shavings, lots of stuff. She's there helping me. She's got gloves on. We're doing all the work, all the poop, everything. Like Layla's there.
Yeah.
All right, Layla, let me ask you this. Do you see yourself, let's say you're 11, right?
Yeah.
In the next 10 years, let's say you probably having your own breeding program, like continue with these dogs or no? I know
Probably.
you're gonna have to go to school and college and stuff, but do you see yourself maybe doing it?
Yeah, probably.
I see myself talking her out of it. It's not. I don't know.
Then you could be the assistant, Martin.
I have four kids. Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a whole team.
If none of my children carry on with the lines, I would be okay. I would be okay with none of my children working in restaurants, owning lowriders, or having dogs. I will be perfectly fine with that. Because these things are tough. These things are like a commitment where you can't just, financial commitments. You can't just leave.
Sure.
It depends where you live. Like it's a big thing.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a big part of your life, especially, you can take vacations whenever you want. You got responsibilities. Yeah. No, Layla, well, we appreciate it. Thank you, so people could know that, who's Martin's helper,
Yeah.
Great job.
That's just Mika.
Thank you.
Yeah, pictures and all that stuff is tough. You got to be like 3 people. Usually, I'll have my daughter, my younger brother, help me out, my fiance, but we just get frustrated. She's like, what do you want me to do? Like, hold on, stay there.
Like I've gone to other breeders' houses, two breeders in particular I can think of, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna do this and this and this, and I start taking pictures. Boom, boom. I'm only like 200 pictures in, and they're like, isn't this enough? I'm like, nah, bro. Like we're almost halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah, because out of those 200, you're gonna get like 3 if you're lucky.
I mean, you could get a lot of them, or you can get none of them. It just depends. There's slight things. Just has a lot to do with luck. It has a lot to do with the dog. A lot to do with the person holding it. But I mean, these instances, I was like 5 hours away from my house one time, and like 4 hours away from my house the other time, and I had my camera, and I'm like, no, we're gonna take advantage. I want to make sure that I get you some wow pictures that sell your dog, sell your puppy for you.
So that get you blocked. We want pictures so good, somebody's gonna block you on the internet.
Yeah, someone's gonna block you and make a video about you.
Someone's gonna do a vlog about you and your pictures.
Yeah.
That's how good.
They're
Dennis
gonna
knows.
Talk about like all he has is pictures. His pictures look great.
Yeah.
If I worked harder, I could have pictures that nice too.
Yeah.
You know what is the crazy part is that we and I don't even consider my pictures great. I just like, oh, it's a good picture, cool. But even with those pictures, I back them up with videos. You see the dogs moving and stuff like that. So I'm like, well, what can you say?
Yeah,
videos,
regular
videos they're about the same thing. You got to take a lot of minutes of footage. And,
True.
And then get them, especially making reels. I mean, the best way I think videos work are action videos. If your dog is doing something, that's the time. That's the time. That's when you get good videos.
And and for pictures, I think it helps somebody knowing certain language, because my wife now, she knows, but in the beginning I'll be like, oh, stack that dog like this, and she's like, what is that? I don't know. Stack the front like, oh. So it was arguments, just like Gam said, him and him fiance, and it's like, so sometimes now, whether I go to Gam's house and I'll be like, hey, let's take pictures of this dog. So I'll be like, hey, stack his rear this, and so he knows what I need, and so I could take pictures right there and there. Yeah.
Hey, he's looking a little stiff. He's looking like fix his back, rear angulation, reset.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then I forgot what I was gonna say.
No, yeah, definitely. And this, and then a lot of these pictures, honestly, you want to take a good picture of them. But most of them, the ones I take, it's for me, like just because I could compare, certain pictures of certain dogs that I took, let's say when I started off, to what I have now, because some of these dogs might not be here, but I have pictures or videos, and I'll be like, wow, you know what? I did improve my lines and stuff. Maybe back then I was, producing Easty Westy puppies or whatever, and I moved away from that, and now, I have dogs that are straight in the front or whatever it is.
Oh,
And a lot of them wait
I've
for
had
me.
that too. I've had like my dad, like he went through his really old pictures in his cell phone, and he comes to me and he's like, "Man, I thought those dogs we had back then were the best. I'm looking at them, and our dogs are way better now."
Yeah, see?
Yeah, I told you that's why I pet homed them. I remember what I was
Yeah.
gonna say now. It depends on the dog, because a dog like Toy Story, if Toy Story will stand there, and I could go position his legs and move him around and walk 10 feet away and snap a picture on my phone. They won't even move.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's other dogs that, like, they don't look good unless they're doing something like running, jumping, tugging. And I'm like, man, this dog is awkward. Like, they sit weird. I've had dogs where they sit with their legs off to the side, their back legs.
Yeah.
Like, man, I can't even get a picture of you sitting right, So
Yeah, or anytime you leave them, then they're like, okay, and then just sit down. I'm like, I need a standing up photo or something. Or a dog will lay down or something. But the joys.
No, gentlemen, I think we're coming to our end. This one's a good one, a good second
this
part
one,
with
I'm not
Martin.
gonna lie, this one was tough for me. This one was tough.
I felt you there. I felt you didn't really want to let loose, but
That was tough. But it is what it is. Like I said, I'm not embarrassed. It's, these are subjects that everyone knows about on some of them, and some of them that like you learn the hard way.
yeah,
Learning the hard
definitely.
way sucks. I've definitely had my times where I've had to call other breeders and get their opinions. Like, hey, are they pulling one over on me, or am I just wrong? And it's like, it's tough. But
Yeah. Hey, but you learn, the hard way, but at least it's an experience for the next one that you're a little bit more prepared and you know what to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, this was cool.
Gentlemen, so I appreciate it. We're coming to our end. Um, Catch us on the next Let Loose Dog Talk. I'm Dennis with Regard Bulls. We have Martin with Fuerzas American Bulldog and Gabriel with Gams American Bulldog.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thank you, Martin. Thanks, Dennis.